My name is Daramouthe, and welcome to another Darachat. I know I just had one 2 to 3 days ago. How awesome is that? But I work around the people I get to talk to, not my own schedule, because I'm a person who doesn't get this opportunity often. So please welcome Jessica Reloaded, or J,
Hello.
or JR, as her crew calls her. No.
They call me Junior.
Yep, I just realized that. That's
Well, because that all started with when Waifu Kran
oh yeah.
was my co-host. She, I think she started her name on StreamYard started with Waifu Kran, and then she
Mm.
changed it to Jess.
Oh.
And then people were getting confused with Jessica Reloaded and Jess.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right.
I ended up changing mine to JR,
Hmm.
and then yeah. So it's
And
pretty
and
much
then
how
just
that started.
yeah, because I was like a while back, I was like, why don't you just have the Jess and Jess show? Because I mean that's what you kind
Yeah,
of kind of like the sisters, Jess
yeah.
and Jess.
We
The
tried we tried that the just squared, but
yeah,
didn't work out.
it's yeah, it's all right. I mean, stuff happens as a content creator where you're either unprepared or unsure of. I mean, for me, I've said this before, but you probably don't know. I started out just making. I started on YouTube for making videos. Just like I had the camera looking down at my desk, and my hands were there, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing live streams then. And then I uh, I s- I was trying to um, wait until Rumble had gotten rid of their 5 follower thing, because you had to have 5 followers to do a live stream. They've already gotten rid of that now, so that's already long gone.
Mhm.
Um, so I got on one of their premium plan things after a while, just like I'm done. I just want to do live streaming because I don't edit. I really don't have the knowledge nor feel for it. You just want to flow. And
Yeah.
when you do a live stream, sometimes it doesn't. I've seen those live streams you've been on. I saw the one live stream.
Which one? There's been a few. There's been a few.
It was well, one is when you were on Camelot and doing his Naked Snake, obviously.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah. So I actually reached back out to him again and
mm,
I was like, "Can I come on only to do Naked Snake and then I'll leave?" And he's like, "Sure." Cuz that was so awkward for me cuz I'm like, I'm still not like I'm used to going on panel or like going on other people's streams,
mm.
but um it makes me nervous when there's a lot of people watching. So I'm like,
Oh, okay. Oh, you like stage fright, right? Like you
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's understandable. But the other one I was talking about was where you were on one of Nick's streams and you just decided to go Naked Snake. So.
Oh, okay. So I know which one you're talking about actually for that one because I know there's a lot of like spurgs that hang out in Nick's chat.
Yeah.
So I was like, me and Camelot were like messaging each other on Instagram, and I was like, I have an idea. What do you think? Because like I want to make the chat spurg out, and I think it would be funny as hell.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, what's your idea? I'm like, I'm gonna wear a tube top, and then I'm gonna keep the camera like right above it, so it looks like
Hmm.
I'm not wearing a shirt. And I called it. Everyone spurged out, and then after like a while, I stood up and I was like, "You guys are all idiots." I mean,
Damn.
it still got clipped, and there was still
Yeah.
people like, "Oh, she's so trashy, going on without a shirt and blah blah blah." I'm like, I was wearing a tube top, and then they started attacking me. I'm like, you know what? You know what? I'm not even gonna argue with you. You're just an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
I was stunned. I was like, oh, okay. The stream just got a little more interesting. I don't think I stayed the whole night because I think it was a Friday stream and it was just going all night. I can't do that. Even with like Flashcast.
Mm-hmm.
Flashcast, it goes for so long. I mean, there are a lot of content creators like yourself who I watch, but there's a lot of things that get involved with content creators that it just becomes what's the word? I wouldn't say oxymoron, but that's not the case. It almost becomes an oxymoronic hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
If you get that, it's complicated. It weaves a thousand webs across the internet, but it just becomes like the only way I could simplify it was that content creators become the content they create, which
Yeah.
it's a mouthful, right? It's a mouthful, but it's like after a while you start, and it's nothing against one person. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people are idiots. Myself included in that party once in a while, but we're human beings, so whatever. But it's just for me, like you were saying about being watched by a lot of people. I've watched a lot of those
I know.
it happens. Sorry, sometimes I have Wi-Fi, so
Oh, okay.
sometimes it happens where you'll freeze for a bit, or I'll freeze, but you'll come back eventually. So don't freak out. Um, but yeah, so oh, she's like, "Mom, stop disturbing me."
Sorry. She does that all
Fam,
the time.
it's almost like Carmen. Mom, leave me alone, Mom. No, Mr. Kitty.
I could see Baldo's in the chat. He's saying just out here practicing to replace Mia. Okay, I'm gonna address that meme once and for all. Somebody made a meme of
uh,
me next to Mia Khalifa. I know who it was. I'm not
oh,
gonna acknowledge them because I don't
right.
care for them.
No names.
But it was funny at the time. Well,
Right.
now it's just annoying because I obviously don't look like Mia Khalifa,
Yeah.
and not to sound cocky or anything, but I think I'm way prettier than her. Like, I have nicer eyebrows, I have a nicer nose.
Yeah. If you think
I'm
about
not a
it,
porn star.
yeah. Well, one, if you think about it, she has very thick eyebrows.
Hmm.
Very, very thick eyebrows. And the her set is not real. So, you know,
Yeah,
an all what's that song? An all natural woman, was it? I can't remember. I think that was the song where the title of it was
yeah.
all natural woman or something like that. I'm sure someone will say something,
I
but
don't know. Honestly, I think I'm way prettier than her. Like, for the most part, I stream. When I stream, like, I'm in my PJs with no makeup on and stuff, and
yeah,
people constantly compliment me. I
yeah,
don't think she can get away with not wearing makeup. Not trying to sound cocky, but
yeah. No,
just
I
being honest. And if you know me and you watch my content,
mhm,
nobody is safe. I judge men and women. I call them ugly or I call them hot,
mhm.
you know?
Well, my thing is that, and this is, you can have that discussion about the men and women war because there is one, obviously. Um, but there are some women who just have a natural beauty or who don't need much makeup and they look amazing. It's just
Mhm.
ridiculous amazing sometimes, but sometimes you don't need a lot of makeup. Now, I once saw my mom without mascara and I was like, what the hell? Because it's just one, but she just wears mascara. But there are just those some women like yourself who just have I don't know if you're wearing mascara or not. I'm a guy. I don't know
Right
much.
now I do have mascara on.
Okay.
It's from
So,
last night. So,
okay. So you would look deathly ill if you had it off because that's what usually happens is when you have the
no,
mascara off.
no,
No?
I still look the same, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, see, there you go. See, you have a natural beauty that it just works. I mean, that's a crazy insane. And there's some I mean guys maybe too, but that's just
Well,
to
I
be like
think also what really contributes to the attractiveness of a person is their attitude and their personality.
mhm,
Um, like, you can walk into a room and see a really attractive man or a really attractive woman where you're like, dang, they're actually really good looking. But then once they start talking and you like hear how they talk or how what their personality is like, you're like, yeah, maybe not. Not so much. I don't
yeah.
know. Do you ever have those moments? I have them all the time.
I think there's like a hit or miss with it because well one, I'm not as outgoing, I would think. In like, I mean, I can do crowds, but when they get too big, it's like a compression of sorts. It's not claustrophobia. It's sort of like it's a lot of sensory going on, and you're just like pow. So there is that. I think I do all right socially. I mean, I'm talking to you. Obviously, I was
Yeah.
able to get you on this show, even though it's hard for me to get others on. I,
I mean, I think ever since that first time when I hopped into your chat, you were
Mhm.
kind of nervous, but yeah, you've come a long way.
Yeah. No, I thank you for that one time because I remember because you were streaming the depth stuff,
Yeah.
which guys, she will at 7 o'clock she will be leaving and
No,
well and oh
so I got confused. I
okay
confused myself.
okay
And
about
we're
what
not streaming that today. We're going to be
okay
doing it on Wednesday and Thursday.
okay all right well no that's great because
Depending on Shizzy.
because um Divinity, you know who Divinity is, right?
Yeah.
Divinity. So we were on here, and I've watched your stuff too. Not always, because there's so many people I watch. I try to do more support through Rumble because I believe in it, even though it has issues. I understand that there are a lot of people who won't come over because of
Hmm.
that. That's perfectly fine. But I see promise in what it can do, and we kind of need more than just YouTube because my thing with content creators, and this happens with the ones who have millions and millions of followers, they put all their eggs in one basket, and if something happens to them and they get hit with a
That's true.
demonetization, yeah, they're screwed. And
So I have a question for you.
yes, ma'am.
Are you streaming to a Rumble channel or your regular Rumble user account?
I remember seeing that because I'd asked that once of Rick Rack, who's sort of on the Rummel team.
Yeah.
And I showed him that too because there's D-Day Cobra, Drunk 3PO. There are a lot of people who have double. And I showed him that, and he took that information. I don't know if they're going to do anything with it, but they have that information. I just
Right.
have this. Daramouthe is all
Okay.
I have.
So
There's not another.
for I would, if you're so I didn't do that from the beginning, but then
Mhm,
when I talked to like one of the representatives from locals, she had recommended that I start a Rumble channel,
mhm.
um, because when you have a channel, it helps with your growth.
Oh
I
yeah.
just created one like 2 weeks ago,
Mhm,
and then I started streaming to it. It was hard for me to figure out how to do it at first, but then I
yeah.
figured it out and I did it
Mhm.
because now it's hard for me to grow that Rumble channel because everyone already follows on my user
Yes, that's
account.
the issue.
I have like 300 something followers.
Mhm.
I had mentioned it to her. She said they're going to work on something where even if they're following your user account, they'll still be able to see when you're live. I
Yeah,
don't know if they fixed that. I should
probably
probably reach
not.
out to them,
Yeah.
but yeah, because that's one of the things that I didn't know until she told me. And my meeting was with her was in like May. And I didn't do it until like 2 weeks ago because I'm like, I don't care. I only stream just to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, if I don't feel like streaming, I'm not gonna stream. Or like I'll just randomly start up a stream and just randomly talk. Like yesterday I did a stream and there
Mhm.
was like 20 people watching at one point, and I'm like, why are you all here? Like the stream is so pointless. Like,
Yeah.
but okay, I guess if you want to be an idiot with me, that's fine. You know?
Yeah. No,
Like
I
I don't expect people to watch my streams, but if
mhm.
they're there, I guess, like come on over.
Yeah. Well, and I saw you did that thing a while back where you were talking about wanting to sort of reset yourself for your channel because
Mhm.
you talk about the monetization and stuff, and monetization. And yeah, of course, Broken Baker's got it because we are bored and you are fun. That's right. Jessica Reloaded is very fun. Um, but um, but yeah, the double thing is for me. I found this out when I first started out. Live streaming and stuff. Because I was uploading videos to have both ends, not just the one end, but both ends. Once I got to live streaming, I have been growing more through Rumble than I have been YouTube. I have probably double the amount in Rumble than YouTube, um, and maybe it's because I put Rumble first. Whatever. It's just for me, it's been more through Rumble that I've grown a bit. I mean, I don't know what my number will end up being in the future, but for right now, like you said, it's about coming out and doing what you would like to do or having fun with it.
Yeah.
Because my issue too is that people start out wanting to make money, and then some will say, I want to make money, but it's not just about the money, it's about this and this, like, but you want to make money. For me, yes, I'd like to, I'd like to find like an extra side gig, right? Like you do something, you get a little something out of it, but I don't expect it because I will set myself up for that disappointment. So that's my reasoning. But go ahead. I know you wanted to say
Yeah.
something. Oh, I thought you were wanting to say something. So
No, I was actually gonna say, like, I think as small creators, a lot of them go into it and expect to have all the success and grow fast and get monetized immediately and make money immediately and do this and do that, and they focus on the analytics, they focus on like all of these things, but then at the same time they're forgetting to be themselves.
yeah.
So when they're live streaming and they're too focused on the analytics, they're
Mhm.
not being themselves during the live streams, and it ends up being very disingenuous
Mhm.
and very boring.
Yeah.
Like when I first started out, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an idiot, whatever.
Yeah.
But I continued doing it and just being myself. I don't like a lot of the times, I don't even look at how many viewers are watching. I'm
Yeah.
just doing my thing. And if people are in the chat, I'll respond to the chat. And then sometimes, like, if I'm really having fun, I don't even look at the chat. And then I
Yeah.
end up apologizing to them because I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I suck. But
Yeah.
I think when you focus on the analytics, and like Baker is saying, when you're chasing the algorithm, you
Yeah.
tend to lose your own personal touch to your content
Yeah.
because you're so focused on making money, but it's like at the same time, like people can see through that.
Mhm.
They know you're not being you. Like
Right.
I've had a lot of people tell me that the reason why they watch my content is because I don't change. Like
Hmm.
I'm still myself.
Right.
I'm still here to have fun. I don't care if you like it or not.
Right.
I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to be me, you know?
Mhm.
And I like to keep it real. I'm not gonna fake my personality just to get viewers or like get clout or whatnot. Like when my channel started growing, it was because I was
She'll be back.
appearing
Give it a moment.
on
Again, I have.
what? Oh, your internet. Your internet went out. Oh
You're.
no.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. Like I said, it happens sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah. So don't worry about it. So go ahead. You were talking about sometimes I think.
Yeah. Um like sometimes like I've had people where they see my amount of subscribers or because they've seen me on Ricada's channel or Legal Vices or like Camelot's or other people's channels,
Mhm.
they tend to like try to idolize me and I'm like, bruh, I'm just a pleb. Um I happen to like get in with all these people, but I don't compare myself to them. Like I'm still a tiny baby compared to them. And also I
Aw.
don't want to be on their level.
Yeah.
Because I like my small little channel. I like the small amount of people that I, continue having in my chat that always come back to my chat. And it's like always the same little group. Like, I don't want to have like hundreds of people watching me at the same time. It's not going to be fun because I feel like I'm going to be pressured to put on a good show for them when I'm literally just here to have fun and be myself. So when I see people like, they're like, oh, but you have how many subscribers do I even have right now? I don't even know because I don't check it. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see. I have 1,694 subs right now.
Nice.
Do I care? No. Is
Mhm.
my channel monetized? Yes. Do I make any money off of my channel being monetized? No, because if you're not in the algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting the views, and the ad revenue is absolutely nothing. The most money that you're going to make is from your super chats and your memberships.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, that's only money that I'm making off YouTube. Do I care for the money aspect of it?
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm just here to have fun. And I've
Right.
actually thought about it. I've thought about like demonetizing my channel because I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really care for it. I just like the little group of, I call them my friends in the
Yeah.
chat, you know? I just like
Mm,
having my little friends in the chat.
I well, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. My thing personally with is that while you have people that come back and stuff, my thing is, and you've seen this many times with other content creators in our community, it's all the turnaround on that regard. So I like to say I'd be friendly. We'll be friendly. We'll come here. We'll have fun. It's like a little party get together. But at the end of the day, we go home. We're not family,
Mm-hmm.
maybe friendly, but nothing beyond that point because I've seen too many times where you get the content creator saying, "Oh, these communities are just gay. It's all gay. It's all this. It's all that."
Oh, your Wi-Fi went out.
It's those things where you take the warning signs, right? Like you learn from other people's mistakes, right? The
Yeah.
whole point about the content creators, they'll learn. So for me, like doing this, right? I feel that it's better to either do a one-on-one or up to four because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen too many times where you have 9 to 10 people, they all talk over each other, nothing gets going, someone has to stop, and then one person can talk whatever. So it's just, I mean, it can still get loud with like 4 people, but it's less and
Yeah.
less is more. It's not coming down on anyone. It's just I've seen too many times these content creators, and yeah, people like chaos. I'm not going to disagree with that,
Yeah. And
but
what I've noticed too in my small short amount of time of actually streaming, cuz I've had my channel since like 2009.
mm,
Okay. But I didn't start posting content until like 2015. And I was actually posting like short vlogs and stuff. You're not going to find it now because I've like removed all of it because I was like, that's embarrassing, you know? So, if the one thing I've noticed in my short amount of time of like streaming and like getting to know all these communities and whatnot,
mm.
um, fuck the community. I don't want to be part of any community. I don't want to be associated with any community because, like, for example, um, I had a situation during the summer where I had shared something on Twitter and someone was going at it with me. I think you saw it. And they're like, well,
Maybe.
you've been on Rekeda's channel, so that means you are like him. And I'm like, I was just a
Mm-mm.
guest. Like, what are
Yeah,
you talking about? Like, I don't like
that's
the attention. Leave me alone.
it's guilt by association. Really, is what
Yeah,
it is. It's
yeah.
always what it is.
And then you see those other, like, there's content creators where they'll have the large panels constantly, like every night,
Mhm.
because
Yep.
if you pay attention, they can't run a show by
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah.
And then, like, when those people stop like going on panels with them, they have the audacity to say, well, that person used me. No, they did not use you. You used them because you can't run your own show.
Right.
Run your own show for a full month with no panel and tell me how good you do. You know?
Right.
Some like, it's crazy. Like, some of the creators that you see,
Hmm.
like, if you really pay attention, you're
Hmm.
like, they're not meant for YouTube. They're on here because they
Money.
think like they can be on Rekeda's level of success, but
Hmm.
they really don't have anything going for themselves. And then another thing that I've learned is, like, when I've seen, it's bit me in the ass so many times where I've seen a smaller creator, okay,
Hmm.
I've brought them into like my whole network, introduced them to people and stuff. And then once they start getting attention from other people,
Hmm.
like, oh, we were like really good friends. All of a sudden, they pushed me to the side because I said something to them to help them better themselves and their content. They
Right.
didn't like what I said, so they just pushed me to the side. And I'm like, oh, really? So now I've decided, like, 2024,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be selfish as fuck. Like,
Do it.
I'm not bringing anybody into my shows with me unless, like, I know them, like Broken Baker, T Rex in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
TR Greater X is T Rex, by the way.
Okay.
T Rex, Shizzy,
Mm-hmm.
MG Law, the expert, like people that I know
Mm-hmm.
are not gonna stab me in the back. Or
Right.
they're
Yeah.
not, or they take the constructive criticism and they understand it rather than taking it as a personal attack.
Yeah.
They like understand what you're trying to tell them,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? Because the way I look at it, like Broken Baker says, the big problem with online friends is there's always one who get their fifis hurt and start drama. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, I'm sorry, but if I want like friends around me,
Yeah.
I want my friends to tell me something that they see in me that they think could ruin my image or stunt my growth or,
Mm-hmm.
like I'd
Uh-huh.
want my friends to be honest with me.
Yeah.
But Broken Baker, shut up. I sent you a link last night and you didn't come on with us.
I
Don't you
saw that.
dare.
I saw that. I was like, wow, she's really mean.
Like, literally, I sent him a link yesterday and he didn't come on.
That's your fault, Broken Baker. It's on you now. The ball's in your court. You gotta. What's that thing from Zombieland? You gotta nut up or shut up. I think that was. Did you ever watch that movie, Zombieland?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the scene where Woody Harrelson's character's going on just saying that? It's like nut up or shut up.
Yeah.
What you gotta do. I always
Yep.
like that one. No, but you're not wrong. I mean, I've learned a lot from just watching other creators. And yeah, the drama stuff is just crazy, and I
That's
I
why
don't
I
want to
stay away
create.
from them.
Yeah.
I'd rather do my gaming streams
Mm,
and chill with the chat, even though a lot of people don't like gaming streams, but they
yeah.
just come into the chat and they just hang out. Like we have a conversation. I'm gaming, but then the people in the chat are like talking to me and I'm talking with them and we're just having a conversation and chilling.
Yeah.
I love those way much more than panel streams.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not me personally. I'm not trying to look for clout, but I like these conversational ones. I like to
Yeah.
have a conversation because my ultimate one day goal is to be able to talk to people like. Well, of course, I'm talking to you, so I've already completed something. I'd be able to do more like maybe Nerdotic one day or Jeremy or something. Not to gain like a their following whatever, but
Right.
just this. It's like that coffee cafe you're sitting across, but just people around the internet get to watch us have that conversation about whatever. Because like I said with Divinity when she was on, we were almost 2 hours and 40 minutes of just talking about anything and everything. Of course, within reason, because YouTube. So that's all that. But that's what I would like to have. Did I get any money out of it? Probably not. But the point of the matter is, I had to talk to Divinity. All right, I got to talk to Divinity like I'm talking to you now, and that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome to me. That's what I want to strive for. If I get money out of it or not many of it, great. I have a full time job. I'm not in California, but but sorry. But this is what I enjoy doing more because I get to talk to people who I thought I would never, even when I first started doing this content creation, I kept going, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do this one day. Didn't do it. Let's do this one another day. Didn't do it. I just chose one day, started it, and I've kept going ever since. And I really like the opportunity of just getting to talk to you, Divinity, and other people I've met on Twitter as well, because you're human too, and your
Hmm.
perspective also is what I want to look at as well, because we're two different minds. We may see something of similarity and have an agreement or disagreement, but we're two different minds of how we see this world. And I want to not not explode on it, but to explore that, because we're going to have stuff we're going to agree or disagree on, but I'm not coming to attack you on it. I just want to
Hmm.
learn, because You have a big brain. It's no. But no, you're lovely, and it's nice to get to have the opportunity with
Thank
others like you.
you.
So I get. Oh, that's right. I was in a show with Jess as well a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was one of her Monday shows, but that was the only time. And well, yeah, maybe the opportunity to go on someone else's show would be nice. And I have had that. You, you'd be surprised of how long a stream could go when it's just flowing and flowing, and it's not this 9 people, 50 people just interrupting or whatever. I mean, yeah, you have to stop for the super chats or whatever, but there's a chaos, but there's an order. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as bad. So, but that's just me. I know everyone's different. Do as you will, but that's just how I want to see it, because, like you said earlier, there's a right way to go about it and a wrong way, and too many people go that wrong way of just like money, money. I was like, there's nothing against. So a good example is Camelot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's nothing against him, but he always, either he's joking about it or whatever. He's always joking about, I've got to pay that mortgage. I got to pay that mortgage. I'm like, but you got into this because either you didn't like the job stuff you were doing or whatever, but it becomes sort of tiring. It's not me trying to attack him. It's me trying to, like, I keep hearing this stuff, and it's just like, well, then what else are you doing about it? I know he's got the racing, and that's great, but it just
See,
feels like,
with him, I think he got into doing the whole YouTube thing
mm,
because it was an easy outlet for him, and then also because he doesn't like working for other people.
uh, other people, yeah,
No, I didn't mean like he doesn't like working at all. I mean he doesn't
right,
like working for other people because when you tend to work for other people, sometimes it gets really frustrating because
yep,
it's like for example, I'm a manager, but there are
mm,
some things where I'm like, you know, business would run so much smoother if we just did things this way, but I can't say anything because I'm not the owner and blah blah blah. So
mm,
it tends to get kind of frustrating, but with him, I think he saw the potential for himself and he was able to make it his job. So while yes, it does sound like he's always crying for money and stuff, because I've
well,
seen
not
it
that
too.
much,
Trust me, I've
yeah,
seen it too.
yeah,
It does sound like he's crying for money and stuff, but the reality of it is, like, that ad revenue is so freaking hard to
yeah,
get.
yeah,
Like, it is hard. You get nothing, literally nothing, unless you have like millions of views. Then you're maybe seeing a good amount of money, but
mm,
it's really hard. So I can see why he does like the super chat goals and like stuff like that,
yeah, naked snake and all that stuff,
because mortgage is expensive,
yeah,
car insurance, especially when like this is something you depend on. So
yeah.
I can see why. And if you can do it,
Oh, she'll be back.
and you
Give it a second.
what happened? Oh no, you froze. Oh my gosh.
It
Ah.
sucks. Yeah,
Okay.
you're back.
So like
Yeah.
yeah, so you can do it, like you can make ends meet if
Mm,
you're into it. So if he can do it, I don't see why not. Would
right.
I quit my job to do YouTube full time? Probably not, because I still hate it at the end of the day.
Mm,
I love it in a sense where it's like my little escape where I can be myself
right.
and I can do whatever I want and just chill and just like hang out with people and stuff. But at the same time, I hate it in a sense where I see all the drama that other people get into and I'm like, nope, leave me out of it. And
Yep.
that's why like most of the time if I'm watching like Rakeda
Mm,
at all,
mm,
a lot of the times I don't say anything in chat, so nobody knows I'm there.
right.
Because there are so many like people who are in his chat and they're like, "Oh, you should have an ugly e-thought like Jessica Reloaded on." Someone said that the other day. And I was like, "Hello to you, clown." I'm like, "Yes, I'm totally an e-thought." I'm like, "I don't even know what an e-thought is, but I'm assuming it has to do with like those like Twitch streamers that don't have shirts on and it's just like their boobs. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? The new like Twitch
Yeah.
thing going
Yeah.
on,
So,
the meta. And
mhm.
I'm just like, I would think of them as e-thoughts because they're like actually being hoes. But
Yeah.
like I don't understand how being an e-thought connects with me because I'm literally in my PJs trying to look ugly as freak every stream that I go on. What are
Mhm.
you talking about? But I think it's funny. I love the trolls. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love the trolls.
Right. But one of the things I've learned, and this is being on Twitter X, and this is not through the content creation, but one of the things I've learned is haters are money makers.
Yeah.
If you know how to use it right, your haters are money makers. It's funny how people who hate what you say or do can just spread you around, and all you had to do was to say something they didn't like, and bam, you're on page number one.
Right.
It kind of can get exhausting though, so you don't want to do it too much. Um, but yeah, no, my complaints are more of not to do what I've seen others do. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna make mistakes. I'm human.
Right.
Sorry, I can't do any more than that. But I really I would like to get in that point where I'm maybe getting a little something out of it. But as before, I get to have these conversations with you, with Vinny, with elsewhere, and I would never have before. I'd be the
Hmm.
lurker giving a rant and say, "Hey, Jessica, I'm over here," or say my name or whatever. Um, but now I get to, I get to sit across from you when you freeze sometimes. No, that's okay. But
No. Well, considering all the freezing and stuff, if there's
yeah,
anything I can uh recommend because you know you're starting to stream,
yeah,
definitely get plugged into an Ethernet. It's
yeah,
way better, especially when you're streaming.
yeah. The issue is that I rent a room in a house,
Oh,
so the
okay.
internet is not mine. I possibly could wire it too, but it would require money to make a wire long enough to get to the
Well,
router.
you can just buy a Ethernet splitter,
Yeah,
and then just all. I mean, the wires on Amazon are not that expensive. That's what I did. I bought a splitter, so I have one connected to the TV. I
mm,
have one connected to my PS5, and then I ran one over to my PC.
yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I just have to look at the price and stuff because that's always the thing, right? Like I have
Yeah.
bills and stuff I have to take care of, so that's just extra.
Well, they're honestly not that expensive actually. If you want, I can help you. Like, just shoot me a message on Twitter or something, and I can send you
I,
some links.
if I had a rose to give you, I would give it to you right now, just because of that. So, but no, thank you. I really appreciate it because, and that's not me trying to get anything out of anything like that. It's just because
No.
I, I am doing. The one thing I'm trying to do is be humble about it, right? Because if you stay humble, at least you'll have this sort of grounded area. Maybe not always, but sometimes being humble about it and being appreciative of that. I mean, right now, like this is probably the only time I've had this many people for watching. I mean, I've done personal, but I either don't have this super draw power or whatever, but that's okay. That's fine. Um, but it's not about wanting to use other people for make it big. I just like getting to do this part. And yeah, that kind of makes it like, well, you can't run if you don't have anyone else over there. It's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to have a conversation when no one's there to have a conversation with.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get the opportunity, I'm going to do it because I'd rather do that. You know, forgo all everything the rest. I'd rather just sit across from someone and have a conversation. Like I'm sure there was a show out there that's done it, like the Jerry Seinfeld one where he takes him out for coffee in his car and all that stuff. I think something similar like that, but I'm not driving you anywhere, so that's a little off the
No.
table.
Like honestly, like right now for you
Mhm.
because you are just starting out, I think it's going to get a lot easier in the long run for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, especially
And
with
eventually you'll get to that point where you can literally run a show on your own.
yeah,
Like
yeah, sorry.
before, like when I first started streaming, I think it was like August of 2022 was
Mhm.
my first live stream. I had Divinity, Cool Frog, Grimsbar, I think. They were on like one of my first streams. But now, like, I just boot up a stream and I just start talking, even if it's like nonsense and I'm like talking out of my ass. I still have fun doing it, and
Yeah.
people hang out with me in the chat. And like yesterday during my stream, I was reading an article that Tommy Lee, I guess he's getting accused.
Is it the Pam Antlers and Tommy Lee, or is it Tommy Lee Jones?
Pam Anderson, Tommy Lee.
Okay, okay, yeah, because
Yeah,
there's two.
yeah, there are some like Me Too accusations coming at him, and it's like something that happened 20 years ago, and the girl was like, "Oh, I never went to the cops or whatever." I'm like, then what's the point of coming out now? Like, you didn't have a kit done. You
Mhm.
didn't, like, and it sucks. Like, sure. I mean, he's a band member. He's a hoe. They all are for the most part, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
Most celebrity men are. But it's like, you know how hard that's gonna be to prove. It was from 20 years ago. Why come
yeah,
out now? You don't have
yeah.
any proof. You don't have any of this. So like, what's the point?
Well, you already know part of the reason is because sometimes it doesn't matter. The court of law is biased.
Yeah.
Uh, we and like with everything, just talking to, but we could the this is a discussion I had with Divinity is right. It's like your laws and stuff aren't equally uh what's the word? It's not equally applied, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
in
California is like one of the worst states to live in when it comes to like the laws and
yeah,
stuff.
and all the taxes. Yep, all
Mm-hmm.
those taxes. My thing is that it's like the word fair, right? We use the word fair because things in life aren't fair. Correct. Life is not fair, and nothing else is in life. The word fair is sort of a personal justification in the human matter because we believe there is a fairness. Uh, well, here's a real question for all you guys: is it fair to die? Is it fair to not get to choose when you can go? I mean, technically you can, but none of you are going to live 1,000 years, right? Well, that's
Right.
not fair. I'd like to live
Mm-hmm.
1,000 years. Why is that not fair? That's life. You weren't born into a world of fairness. The same with equal, right? I know there's equality and there's another word, equalness or whatever, but none of those words matter because they're just the same as fair. They want to talk about the balance in the universe and stuff, but the universe doesn't really care if you're alive or dead. That's how insignificant you are. Uh, like I was telling Divinity, we are dust mites on a blue marble spinning around a golden sun in a nigh infinite universe. And you want to complain about what? Fairness and inequality and the rules of law and all stuff? Sorry, it doesn't matter because it's going to be applied however a person wants to apply it. It's a human being on the other end of things applying those laws, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
if you're without a jury, it's totally different. If you're with a jury, it's totally different. But rules and laws get applied differently all the time. There's no equal. And you can have the discussion about the men and women gender war thing because that's still going on, obviously. But there's never going to be an equal or fairness. Now,
I'm
everyone,
always on the men's side. I'm not gonna lie.
and that's why you're beautiful. Anyway,
I'm always on the men's side. Like, if there's anybody who's like, or any female that's like mostly misogynist, that's me.
mm. Well,
Because like I know women are full of shit.
yeah, I'm not gonna. And for me, it's like I'm not. I don't want to put all men into one category because not all men equal all men.
Right.
That's hyperbole. That's exaggeration. Same
Yeah.
with women. All women do not equal all women because there's a kaleidoscope of colors in
Right.
that. I'm not talking skin color, but the variety. And
No,
for
and it's
me,
like if you're like, as long as you understand
mhm,
that there is the shitty
mhm,
and then there is the really good people, whether
mhm,
it's men or women
mhm,
on both sides,
yeah,
then you're already ahead of most of the others. Like, I've heard men say, "Oh, women ain't shit, blah blah blah," because this and that, and I'm like, well, neither are men. And here's why,
Yeah.
because it's like there's pros and cons to each side. And a
Yes.
lot of the times, it's their situations, like
Hmm.
their life situations,
Yep.
which makes people the way they are. And like the way you said, life isn't fair, right?
Yeah.
But that's why it's up to us to make the best of it. That's why,
Yes.
like, with me, when it comes to picking my battles, or like
Yeah.
when people want to start like arguments with me,
Hmm.
I'm just like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and I'd rather not waste my energy arguing about that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm exiting this conversation. And then they're like, oh, but you're trying to take the easy way out, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to. No, no. You need to learn what is worth wasting your energy on and what's not. There are worse things in life
Yeah.
that you should be focusing on, not what, well, I don't like that word. That's fine. Don't like that word. Go fuck yourself. What do you want me to tell you? It's just a
Yeah.
word. It's
Yeah.
just a word. We don't need to argue over it. It's a
Yeah.
fucking word. It's
Mhm.
meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, move on. There's worse things to argue about. Like, what
Yeah.
about we can argue over the fact that, fucking I have no faith in Gen Z.
Oh, okay. I
Like,
see what you're talking about.
they're dumb as rocks,
Yeah.
Like, I have no hope for them.
Uh, uh,
But like, we need to learn to pick and choose our battles. Like,
mhm.
you want to sit here and argue with me over something stupid? I'm not going to do it. And I tell people straight up, I'm like, I find your argument to be about something stupid when there's more important things that we should be worried about. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to participate. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. I'm out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get annoyed with it because they're like, oh, you don't like confrontation. No, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
don't mind the confrontation, but when I feel like it's something so fucking stupid,
Mhm.
I'm not doing it, because I'd rather save my energy for something that's like affecting my life.
Yeah. Immediate
you
life.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
like, if it's not affecting my life, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And no, you're not wrong either. Hate and anger are usually just time wasters,
Yeah.
Uh, and you see a lot. That's where that whole drama stuff comes from. Is this hate of something someone said, and the thing of it is too is right for the internet, right, for
Right.
like social media. All you're doing, unless you're making a video or a picture of your, well, mostly a video.
Hmm.
If you're just texting or you're just putting down that text, how can I read the emotion from it? How am I supposed to know you're joking? How am I supposed to know that
Right.
you're being sarcastic? I can't see you through those words. And that's the issue. We talk past each other because we don't sit down across from each other. We don't always have to, and you don't always have to agree. But if you can't sit down across from somebody who hates you, there was a skit by was it Jordan Peele, right? They had that
Hmm.
show a long time ago, and they had a skit where they were texting each other, and I think Keel's character was like very calm, very like laid back, whatever. And then Jordan's character was just like, this Emmer is just, And so the end result is that they go to a bar because that's where they're going to end up at. But Jordan's character comes in with a bat, and his friend, Peel's character is like, hey, what's going on, man? And it's like, oh. So that's what social media is. It's all about this talking past each
Yeah.
other, and I'm not here to have an argument, let alone a debate, because Lord knows
Right.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
But
But
then also, like, at the same time, I think a lot of people that come into it, um, they end up being on the farms because their skin isn't thick enough, and they're like, "Oh, the troll said this and that about me, or the chat is saying this and that about me." Blah 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 blah
right.
blah. I'm like, well, then stop reading the chat if it hurts your feelings that much,
Mm,
or make fun of them.
yeah.
Don't let it hurt your feelings. And if you can't handle that, sorry to break this to you, then you should probably not be on the internet. Because like, I have trolls come into my chat all the time. Like, now I'm just like, okay, what's your point? Like, they come in and they're like, Camelot and Jessica hooked up at Matsuri and he
Yeah.
used her like a doll. And I'm just like,
Jeez.
Your point?
God dang.
I don't understand the point of it. I think it's funny because,
Yeah.
like, we didn't actually hook up. I was
Right.
actually hanging out with T Rex and like waifu Kron and her
Yeah.
husband the whole
You
time.
you have you have that stream video. Yeah.
And Camelot was there with a girl that I think is his girlfriend. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I was just like, where did this bullshit come from? But also at the same time, like, what's your point? Like, are you trying to hurt my feelings, upset
Right.
me, or whatever? It doesn't upset me. That's why I started playing into it. I'm like, yeah, we did. And I'm pregnant with triplets because,
Oh.
since we're saying outrageous things, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
might as well go with it and say something even more outrageous. I'm like, yeah, I'm pregnant with triplets and they're due in May because that's like
Yeah.
what, 9 months after Matsuri.
Right.
And one of them is Matt himself's baby, like because we have like a threesome. And Camelot let me peg him. And what else? What
Oh
else?
man.
The genders, right? The genders. One of them is a boy, and then two of them are girls.
Right.
And I haven't decided what I'm going to name them yet. But like um, next time you say that in my chat, make sure it's a super chat because
Yeah.
you might as well give me money if you say something stupid like that because I don't understand your point. I'm 30 years old. I'm single,
Mhm.
and I'm an adult that can make my own decisions. So even if I
Yep.
did hook up with him, what's the big deal?
Yeah. Be an
I
adult.
don't I don't understand the whole thing, like what their point is, and they
Mhm.
do it all the time. And I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna be doing that, pay me to talk shit to me because
That's right.
I don't understand your point. So
Mhm.
I banned them from my chat, and then they come back and they send me a super chat. I'm like, there you go, good job,
Yeah.
because
Well.
I don't get it. I don't get
Right.
your point. I'll play into it, but I
Mhm.
still don't get your point. Like, what's the obsession? They've been doing it for the past 2 months, and I'm like, what's your point?
Yeah. I don't know if it's something new, but I just came up with something. It's called assumers and rumors. People will assume, and people will make up rumors, and from rumors one can assume. So you have that self cycle, and I just made that up because it rhymes. Because I like to
Right.
make up stuff once in a while. Um, but yeah, so you're not wrong. I mean, I remember seeing that live stream. Mind me, of course, you did kind of look like you were drunk. So I mean, just gonna be honest about
I
that one.
was actually,
Yeah.
that was one of the lives. So I had just gotten out of a relationship. I was going through a breakup.
No.
I chose to end the relationship for my own
Right.
reasons,
Right.
and it felt like because that person was so involved in my
Hmm.
life
Yeah.
that I couldn't get away from them
Right.
because
Yeah.
I had given them so much access to my life. Like I was broken.
Yeah.
But I got over it. And
Mhm.
after seeing those, like when I was on Legal Vices or Ricadas and seeing myself drunk, I was like, that's not the image that I want for
Mhm.
myself. I don't like how I look.
Mhm.
I don't want to do that anymore. And I straight up stopped drinking cold turkey.
Wow.
Cold turkey, cut it off out of my life. And now, like, I barely drink once in a while,
Mhm.
but for the most part, I try not to drink because I've learned just from seeing other creators,
Mhm.
and it's mostly women too. Like they end up getting drunk, going on a live stream,
Mhm.
regretting it the next day, and they end up blaming the host of that live stream and not themselves. And I'm like, see? And you guys complain about men saying that women don't take accountability.
Mhm.
There's the proof. I'm
Right.
with men on this 100%. If you can't look at yourself and realize maybe it's something I should do differently,
Mhm.
then you're the problem. Sorry to break it to you.
Mhm.
See, I saw that. I'm like, it's not the host's fault that I was drunk. It is my fault the way I conducted myself, and I
Yeah.
changed it. And I think a lot, especially females, I see it so much in the female creators. Like they want to be one with the men, where they'll take super chats to get drunk and stuff. Sorry to break it to you, ladies, but
Hmm.
You look like a sloppy whore when you're drunk. You're not as funny as men.
Yeah.
Women can't handle their alcohol like men do. And
Hmm.
there's some that like literally it changes their whole personality. But that like men or women where they get drunk and like they turn into an asshole and it's not fun to be around.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like
no,
I don't get the whole appeal of doing the live streams where you take super chats to get drunk. I don't get it. I think
and
it makes you look bad and it ruins your image. And if you can't realize that, then that's your fault.
yeah, and there are great people like Darachat who talks about his past with drugs and
Right.
alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of just like, yeah, there was. So I have a story. There was a lady I was involved with. I was in my early 20s, and we just kind of got to know each other. Now she was a mom who had two girls, but they were two girls that had different dads. But she wanted to keep in touch with the fathers, and she sort of had a great relationship with one. The other one was kind of hit or miss. Um, and she worked as a waitress at a bar,
Mm-hmm.
and there was one night where she got silly drunk that she started, at least people she knew, she started inviting them to the bathroom with me once too, but she was just going to the restroom. There was no hanky panky or whatever.
Yeah.
and and for me, and of course, I am in one of those college towns, right, where they drink a lot at night. For me, I see all that, and of course content creators too. I see all that, and I have to ask myself, while there's money that can be made from it in a great way, why? What joy does it bring to you other than feeling good, right? Because that's all that usually does is feeling good of drinking alcohol. Is that feel good? It's sort of like maybe I wouldn't say weed, but like some forms of other drugs.
Right.
That may be a little harder. Um, I I just can't look. I mean, I was offered wine for my 21st, and I was like, I don't really, no, thank you. And they were all right with that. But for me, now I just have a bad relationship with soda. That's my issue. That's my issue. But I can't look at a drink because to me it smells like horse piss. That's what
Right.
alcohol smells to me like, horse piss. Even wine.
But also like you have to think about it too as a content creator. Because you are online.
Yes.
Okay. You are live streaming.
Mhm.
What you put online is forever.
Uh, Almost. There have been stories
You
I've
know?
heard where things kind of get erased and you can't find anymore. So it's
Right.
possible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is the image you put out for yourself,
Hmm.
there could be people in your chat. Maybe you have like 1,000 people in your chat
Hmm.
and like 30 of those people decided to clip that part of you making an ass of yourself, right?
Yep. Yep.
You took down the stream. You did your best to delete it. But guess
Hmm.
what? Someone out there has that clip.
Yep.
And I hate to break it to you, but being on the internet, there are people who will try to collect things on you for
Yep.
that gotcha moment.
Yep.
And you have to be careful.
Hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of creators don't take into consideration because content creation it's fun, but it's also kind of
Dangerous.
scary.
Yeah. Dangerous too, because the swatting and stuff. That's.
Yeah, the swatting and stuff. And
Mm.
that's why I don't like simps.
Mm.
Because
Well.
I've heard so many like simp stories where they
Mm.
end up becoming stalkers and they
Stalkers. Yeah.
show up at the girl's house or something.
Melanie Mac is one of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I heard that story. Melanie Mac
And
had like a stalker.
that's why I'm a jerk to simps because I don't want them to get that impression where it's like, yeah, as long as you can give me your money, I'm totally okay with you simping. No, no, no. I don't want your money and I don't want you. Stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. No, and don't get me wrong, there are kinks out there that kind of fetishize that, so you have to be very careful. But I'm not simping. I am just saying you're a lovely,
Thank
beautiful
you.
person as you are, and that's why I said I'd hand you a rose. But that's it. It's nothing more. I don't want to get beaten with a log later, like in the old caveman days. So, but no, you're not wrong. There is, again, there is a thing where you can learn by watching other content creators saying, do I want that to be a part of what I'd like to do, or do I
Hmm.
not? And while it's great to get that encouragement from other content creators saying just camera, do whatever you want, you have to find your own way there. It's all about your path. If you really want to do this and you don't want to do like big thing or make it your whole life story, you just have to find the way to that point that you have something fun and amazing out of it. Because one of the things I was talking to Vinny too was that we as adults lose our wonderment. We lose our wonder about this world. We lose wonder about learning. We lose our wonderment, and we come kind of complacent with the technology in front of us, right? Like our cell phones are like 90% of our day now, it seems. I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too. But um, it's this thing where we've kind of lost that bit of ourselves because we're so distracted by everyone else doing something else, like TikTok, right? Good Lord. TikTok is like crack for kids in a safe environment. Not safe, but
TikTok
it's
is so cringe.
yeah, it's crack cringe. That's what it is. It's crack cringe. So, but that's just what I've seen and learned, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in a, if someone gets to that point, if I'm ever in a stream with somebody, and they start, drinking a lot, I would be like, all right, I'm gonna dip out because there's that sign, right? There's that sign you can tell someone's going a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
Dip out. When you get that warning sign in here or in your gut, you dip out. Don't anything, just dip
Right.
out and get out of there. Um, but yeah, that's something you kind of learn over time, and like you said for yourself, you kind of just taking a back seat to all that. You're gonna come back this fresh and do your own thing. It's gonna be like a hip hop sort of mess. It could be like rapping with a disc on the side or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
Sorry, I
So,
just heard some beeping and I'm not sure what it is.
either it's a fire alarm or something's going on.
No, it's not the fire alarm. But yeah, like, I don't know. You've probably seen panels where I've been on where everyone's drinking and I'm not, and I'm just sitting there like,
Yeah. Or they get into this explosive rant that just seems like, why would
right.
you? For me, it's like, if someone says something that brings up something you're trying to avoid, why would you go beyond that point and keep acknowledging it? That's what I don't get. Is there are a lot of people who talk about, and I'll go point at one person. There's a lot of content creators who say, I'm not about drama. I don't want to get into drama. And yet somehow, some
They're
way,
always in it.
they always keep coming back to it. Like if it's brought up in a super chat or a rumble rant, it's like, and they go in this tirade rant about it. It's like, didn't you just say not too earlier that you don't want to be in drama? Why go back to your hypocrisy? And that's why you hear me say the content creator becomes the content they create. Because it's just ugly. It's dumb and it's ugly, and these people don't understand the words they say very often.
Mm-hmm.
It's like yeah, I'm not too biblical, but it's always that, being slow to anger and quick to love sort of thing, right? Not you don't have to love everybody because it's not possible. But if you're slow to anger, right? You're slow to hating somebody. If you're slow to like jumping the gun, as one would say, then you can step back, take a
Mm-hmm.
breath, and kind of maybe see the big picture, or just step away and don't go back to it. Because that's the thing, is like people, even in a general life, in general daily lives, people don't do that. They don't and walk away.
That's one of my problems that I've had is I give people too much of the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
Like I won't get outraged or I won't like fight with them or argue with them or yell at
Right.
them or any of that. But I just sit back quietly and I'm like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Keep trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then it gets to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking tired of you. And that's one thing that I'm like
don't
working
worry,
on
she'll be back.
is
She'll be back. It's okay.
you're the one who's freezing. Um,
Uh, I can hear you now. It's okay. You're back.
yeah, that's one thing that I'm working on is stop giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
If you see them rearing an ugly head, take
Mm.
that as a sign to walk away. You don't want to be around that shit because it's gonna get to the point where you're like, oh fuck off, I'm out.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
it it drags on you mentally and physically as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
before
Like
oh sorry.
people like that are exhausting to be around.
Yeah, even if it's yourself. So
Mhm.
all
Literally.
right. Well, before we go anymore, I really like the conversation. I want to continue. If you have to go, I understand. Because
That's
I
fine.
just
I can probably go for like another 30 minutes.
okay.
My sister-in-law actually just got here, so
Okay. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I agree with you. So right now, if you want, go ahead and promote yourself. Not shill yourself because that's a dumb word. Go ahead and promote your stuff.
I
Because it
I don't promote myself or any of
okay.
that. I don't care.
I
Like
don't care. Okay.
my channel is bullshit. Like if you want
Mhm.
to just come hang out, I guess.
Yeah. It
But
Jessica. It's called
other than
Jessica
that,
Reloaded, right?
it's yeah, Jessica Reloaded, YouTube, Rumble,
Yeah. All that stuff.
whatever, Twitch. I just stream whenever the hell I feel like it. I post whenever I feel like it. I don't have a
Yeah.
set schedule. I don't have set content. It's
Yeah.
like
It's
it's
free flow.
literally I just do whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to. I'm sorry. Daramouthe on. I have Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. It's all the same name on there. Probably not the same. My handle name is different on Twitter X because I originally a long time ago had Daramouthe as the Twitter handler, but it was during a time where it's like I just wanted to get rid of it, so I got out of that. But I came back, and so I changed the name, but I can't change the Twitter handler. So, but that's the only places I'm on
Oh, I
is
thought you got
YouTube.
banned like I did.
No. It was a long time ago during like the 2020 or whatever, or
Yeah.
2019 whatever. I was just kind of done with the social media because I got rid of Facebook, Instagram, all that, and I just got rid of it. But I came back and I had to do a different name. So yeah, I can't get it back, but I still use that name because the Daramouthe is a name I created, and the irony part is that I created it from a base of an alcoholic drink. So I don't drink, but that's how I created it. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on all three of those platforms. And the thing about doing content creation too is like you do so much. It's so many platforms you can choose from, and everyone wants to do all of them. So it's like Twitter X, YouTube Rumble, done. Easy. I don't overwhelm myself with all this stuff because I'm not looking to be a millionaire. Although, it's one day just to hold $1 million in your hand, that would be nice. Just to hold 1 million in your hand would be nice. And then like I'm giving it back.
Yeah. Just come on here, be yourself,
Yeah.
and it'll all fall into place. Don't try to rush anything. Don't
Oh yeah.
Just be yourself. Just relax. Don't worry about like a like just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't focus on like the analytics. Don't focus on uh your followers or your subscribers. Don't focus on that because that'll uh stop you from
Mm.
being providing a good show, as in being yourself
Yeah.
and growing organically, like getting people to enjoy your content organically.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the things to aim for. And like for me, beforehand, I wouldn't go this far, right? I mean, I showed you what my eyes look like, but beyond that point, this is how far I've gotten. Beforehand, it was on my hands, and then it was nothing there at all, and then I've gotten to this point because it's always the negative side of that social media stuff that you kind of worry
Right.
about. But my thing is like, the face kind of helps on the voice because when I first heard my voice after recording, it sounded like I had a lisp. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a second, what? And I sound higher pitched too. That's something. All right, I guess. So it's always weird when you hear yourself through a re-recording. Um,
Yes.
but
Especially when you're editing clips and you
yeah,
hear your own voice, it's the weirdest thing in the world.
and you're like,
It's
God,
like,
please
ugh.
just shut up. Just don't be quiet.
Yeah.
Just shut up, Jessica.
Or like I'll
Uh,
be like Oh, I talk so slow. Why do people even watch me? I sound like a turd.
Hey everyone, it's Jessica. We're
Exactly.
this time we're gonna talk about my favorite thing, cake. No.
Exactly.
So, but for me, I like the free flow because yeah, there are topics. That's why I put in the descriptor, right? So we'll talk about topics of today and yesteryear because there's so much to talk about. It doesn't have to be something from the day because it gets so tedious where you have to keep up on that, right? You have to keep
Mm-hmm.
up on, and I know we've talked long and hard about content creation, but on the social media spectrum, you see that a lot with almost everyone, news journalism, whatever. And here's the funny thing, right? You have news journalists who create those headlines and stuff, and then you have a content creator reading the headline in order to have content, but they didn't create any journalism whatsoever.
Right.
So what are they doing? They're just rereading for their. I guess
Right.
it's more like Audible for your
So
community.
the people who do that, they miss the mark. If you're going to be reading the news, you need to have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
People love reaction content, right?
Yeah.
So if you're reading an article, you need to be able to react to it. You need to be able to comment on it and stuff. It's
Mm,
not, and I've seen it so much time and time again where people are like, "Yeah, I can easily do what the quartering is doing,"
yeah.
right?
And you gotta get him credit where it's due for him. You gotta at least give
Right,
some credit to him. Yeah.
right. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, what do you have to offer? You watch it and you're like, you read the article, you didn't put in your own commentary, you didn't like react to it, give your
Yeah.
opinion, you didn't put that personal touch to it. It's like, okay, well, you just read the article. If I really wanted to read the article, I could.
Yeah.
What's so special about your content? And
Yeah.
then they get mad that like not a lot of people are interested in it. It's like, I think it's because a lot of people go into it and they're like, yeah, I see Daramouthe and I like what he's doing and I think I can do that. But then they're like totally missing the whole mark. Or
Yeah.
they'll see what I do and they're like, I can totally do that. Totally miss the mark. They see
Mhm,
LawTube, right? They
mhm.
see LawTube. They want to do the trial streams, but then the whole time, like,
Sorry.
at first when we were doing the depth trial, I'm like, I don't know if this is for me because I'm one of those people that like I get bored easily. So that's why a lot of
Mhm.
times you'll see I use Streamlabs to virtual webcam and I start gaming during the stream because I'm like, this is boring, you
Yeah.
know? Or we just start making fun of Amber the whole time or like whoever is on stand, or we'll start
Mhm.
drawing on them and stuff just to keep ourselves entertained. Like that makes the trial funner to watch. But
Yeah.
like the people who just sit there just watching the trial with their chat and they don't poke fun or make jokes or like any of that. They're just like, well, we're just gonna watch the trial together and sit there quietly for like the next 7 hours. It's like, well, I could have just watched the trial on Law and Crime. Why should I watch it on
Yeah.
here?
You guys are so. There was this comment made by T Rex. This is funny. If you don't chill for coffee brand coffee 37 times a day, you'll never be the quartering.
Literally. Literally. And if you pay attention, like if you pay attention to his videos, and I've watched this too, his
Yeah.
videos are like at least 10 to 12 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
Pay
About sometimes.
attention to how long he talks about his coffee
Yeah.
and the actual subject. I'm like,
Yeah.
you lost me now because you
Mm.
talk so long about your coffee. And I think what would benefit him really
Mhm. Mhm.
is talk about the subject
Mhm.
and then in the middle shill his coffee and then
Mhm.
talk about the subject, like the rest of the
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah.
Because when he's shilling for his coffee at the beginning, people are like, okay, get to your point.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say anything to him. He's obviously been doing this longer.
Yeah.
But then he also complains that he's not getting the same views that he used to. but also not my business because I've seen him be
Yeah.
an ass on Twitter before and I've called him out on it.
Yeah.
But also not my business. You do you, boo
Yeah.
boo. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just for me. I mean, there was a time when he was trying to get to the million, right? He was trying to get to a million followers on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
he kept bang. Again, this is just talking about content creation. We're using someone as an example because that's what I have to relate to. So
Right.
you have somebody like the Cording who's banging on. He wants 1 million subscribers. He's gonna show. And don't get me wrong, he made it. I mean, he
Right.
did it. So you can't play with that. But there's a point where you go from promoting your product to it being a negative, which is shilling, or
Mm-hmm.
grifting, as some would call it. Are you eating a special cookie there?
No.
Oh, okay. She's not. I'm just joking, guys. Oh, those look nice. So I'm just joking. I would never seriously think she was having special brownies or anything, but it's just funny to make fun of that. But no, there's content creators who do something like that, and it's just like I get it, I really do, but what are you making content for? Are you making content because he owns Coffee Bear and Coffee? He owns the Publica now. He has his own company. He has people he pays for to edit videos, which is understandable. But there's a time where you kind of trip over your own feet and you can ruin yourself. I'm not gonna say that's what I'm trying to stay away from saying that I know better because I don't. I'm just an outsider looking in. This is what I see firsthand. I know he.
We lost him again.
Yeah, no, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, no, I saw your face. It was like it was doing the thing for the food in your mouth. It's like, yep, she's frozen. So, but for me, it's I'm an outsider looking in. I'm trying to take in the mistakes and stuff, or the things I see as mistakes that I don't want to make. Um, and I gotta give credit where it's due because there are people who are doing more than I do. I just sit here in front of the camera, talk to someone who's either interested or not interested, and we talk about all the stuff of the rainbow. Not that rainbow, but the actual one that
Well,
can be.
what you can do if you're like observing like that,
Yeah.
look at these bigger creators and look at what people are talking about, what they don't like about their content,
Mhm.
and do something
Mhm.
different,
Yeah.
you know?
There's one that's I can't really go against too much because he's not like the Jesus or whatever, but Markiplier, right? Markiplier's been on this uh on YouTube forever, and he's only on YouTube. He has his own clothing store, whatever. But Markiplier's been one of those rare ones that, yeah, he may try to stay neutral of things, which is understandable because it's YouTube and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, people like coming to watch Markiplier mostly because the FNAF stuff's still going on, right? Like he was supposed to be in the FNAF movie, he wasn't able to because of scheduling conflicts, but Markiplier just has built himself up or as this, someone to come and watch. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he does. I don't know if he does live streams or whatever. But and I'm not trying to say I'm not biased because I am a little because I was there when he first played the first Snap game. I was
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, but he does have a quality about him, like the people that saw in PewDiePie. PewDiePie was a long time ago and all this stuff. If you know PewDiePie, but you see those very few that just they try to stay neutral as best as possible, even if you don't always agree with them. But you keep coming back for some odd reason, and that's just my observation. That's just my
Yeah.
observation of things. So, am I looking to take that spot? No, but I think if your channel continues to grow, right? If you one or two, whatever, and people are coming to watch you and they stay, it's not like bot accounts or whatever, like Twitter X is unfortunately still having issues with. Hey, I'm almost to 500, so and it's mostly due to bots. So
I don't know because I don't pay attention to who follows me or not. That's why like some people are like some other creators are like, yeah,
yeah.
I followed you on Twitter a long time ago. I'm like, did you?
Mm.
Because I don't the only notifications I look at is
Oh,
if like someone
I froze
tags me
up.
in
I'll be
something.
back. I'll be
Okay.
back.
I can hear you. Yep, he's frozen. He'll be
I
back,
gotta wipe
guys.
Wait for me, Jessica. Oh, she's back. Okay.
Yeah.
I was starting to cry.
I was saying, like, the only time I look at my Twitter notifications is if somebody tags me on something, or they comment, or they send me a DM.
Yeah.
All the other notifications, if you followed me, I have no freaking idea. I'm sorry I didn't follow you back, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I
And
suck at using it.
hey, don't worry about it. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So, but anyway, we're getting close to that time. But so let's do. I'll do a different topic. I know we've talked about content creators, but there's so much in that well that I don't either think it's talked about, or not everyone shares their opinion on because they're either too afraid of offending or getting back or whatever. I'm like,
Right.
there's just things I see. So one of the things, there was a question I wanted to ask, and I know you probably have said it, but you had talked about jokingly about leaning into the whole stuff like the triplets, whatever.
Hmm.
And this is just a serious question. Have you ever had that thought if you would be a mom or a good mom, like being a parent? Have you ever had that thought?
Yeah. I mean,
Mm,
I would love to be a parent someday.
mm.
It's but I would want to do it the right way, as in
Yeah, obviously.
find a partner, like a guy, obviously,
Mhm.
because I'm straight.
Yeah, yeah.
Find a good man, who has those values uh
Share.
that I share with them. And that would be a good fit
Yeah.
in being a father, because I feel like a lot of times we make stupid choices
Mm.
as women,
Yeah.
and
And
real sometimes people are just not good partners, and
yeah.
but it's definitely something that I have thought about, and I'm in no rush. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I am 30 years old, but it's like I'm not going to go out looking for it.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it just wasn't meant for me. It wasn't in
Yeah.
my book of life.
Yeah. For my end too. Yeah, I've had that thought, but I was I'm still a kid to my parents, but I remember being a kid a long time ago and knowing that that can be a hassle when you're because I'm a child of five, so you know how that goes. But for me, I've always had that thought, but I've always had that fear too because you could always have the stories of those parents that are really not so great, and you want to avoid it, and you're just like I don't want to bring another a person to this place and just screw up the rest of it for him because that's a heavy
Right.
burden. That's a very heavy person. But the thing of it is though is acknowledging that, I would think acknowledging that and then taking that and learning and moving forward and learning how to, it was like I said earlier with the wonderment, right? Because kids have this natural wonderment and just exploring that with them. And yes, there's a directional thing, but and I'm not parent. I've only speaking on observations of what I've seen and what I feel could be better, but I can be wrong. I am human.
Right.
But when you were talking about that, I was like, because you had talked in the past about how you were just like swearing off relationships and all that stuff because of certain situations. I was like, well, I get it, but it's almost kind of sad
Yeah.
because
I
the
mean,
door's closed.
that's how I feel most of the time. But ideally,
Mm.
I would love to have that someday, but am I going to force it? No,
No.
because at the same time it's like you said, you have those fears where you're like, okay, I'm going to bring a kid into this world. I personally would rather homeschool my kids.
Yeah, but
And I think what comes with that is you need to really think about the partner.
mhm.
I'm not saying like be like I want to be like those women that like have the 666 standard or whatever. I just learned what
Yeah.
that was last year. I didn't even know it existed. And then I see
Yeah,
these videos, like these hoes. I call
yeah.
them hoes because I'm like, what do you bring to the table? Do you know how to cook? Can you
Mm.
clean? What do you have to offer these men? You want a successful man, but you have nothing to offer them in return.
All
Are
right.
you going to be a great spouse? Are you going to be a great mother? They
Mhm.
don't even think about that. But the way I look at it is I don't need a man who is a millionaire or makes six figures or any of that, because the way I look at it is I look at marriage
Mm,
as kind of like a business partnership. And the business that you're building is your family,
mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And you both have to work to contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would I love to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool my kids? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say the man I do marry, you know, perfect partner and everything, but we just can't afford that, then I am willing to compromise and be like, we can't afford that. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll try to find the best public school that we can find or something, and
Mm-hmm.
or we can put them in a private school, and I will help, like, obviously contribute financially with whatever my job is and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times the problem is women just don't have that thought process. They look at men and they're like, yeah, I want this, 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 this. What can I get from him? And it's like, but what can you give him though?
Right.
You know?
I right. I would like to correct not to argue against, but to just correct that it's not all women. There are certain women who
It's
are
not
like
all
that.
women. Right.
Yes.
It's not all
Because
women,
you're
but there are certain people who are like that, and it's like, I don't think that's gonna work out, but okay.
yeah. Because you're not. I mean, you're not all women. Like you seem very level headed. You've seen other people's mistakes or whatever. And you kind of have a thinking process to work that out. My thing is, and I'm kind of tired of this whole man versus woman thing because I believe, and we can use the past or not, but I believe we can, with our strengths and weaknesses, we can complement each other
Right.
to a degree. We're not going to always agree because we're human. We're not always going to reach that equilibrium because it doesn't
Well,
exist.
that's what it is. Like women in relationships or a marriage, they're supposed to complement the man. They're not supposed to be equal with the man.
Right.
Because
There's
if
a
a man wanted to find someone on an equal level with him, well, then he might as well get with another man, right? Right? Like, come on. That's why I always make this point with, like, with women. I'm like, you're supposed to compliment the man. By
Yeah.
complimenting the man, I don't mean just be arm candy or like a trophy wife or whatever. No. You're supposed to be his shoulder to lean on,
Yeah.
and him vice
Please.
versa, and you guys
Yeah.
build together,
Yes.
you know? Build the life that you want together.
Communicate.
Mhm.
Communicate's so important, and we not it's not just men and women. We all lose this ability to communicate because we're so tied here or
Mhm.
here. Communicate, even if it's just to say hello and a few words after. Build that
Right.
process, because I'm telling you right now, I love having those conversations with the other side. You don't hate me, so we'll not go that far to that extreme, but we can have this conversation, me a man, you a woman, and we can say, yeah, I don't agree with those men or those women because they say those
Right.
things, but we can say, I would love to get to work with you and build this stuff together because we can do it. Are we going to butt
Right.
heads? Yes, but I'm willing to put, because I've always considered marriage like that garden, right? Like a garden, you have to the corn, all this stuff every year during the spring and summer and fall. You have to put in the work, take out the weeds,
Mhm.
spray the fertilizer, whatever. It's tough work. I have a sibling who helps my grandparents with their garden sometimes, and it's tough work. But at the end of it, you get to see the bounty of that work. And I know it's more positive than that because sometimes things happen and it's out of control, whatever. Not everything works out. But more than that, there is that bounty that can be. It's
Mhm.
possible. It's possible. It's just we trip over ourselves, whether it's
Right.
communication, whether it's looks or
That's
whatever.
that's one of the problems. Like, I don't know how old you are, but I think you're
35.
30,
35.
35. Okay, so one of the problems that our generation tends to have is they don't want to communicate. they're so quick to just run and get a divorce. Have you noticed that?
I stories I've heard because I know there are
Yeah,
percentages thrown out, and that's the thing
yeah.
I have.
A
That's
lot
a
of a lot of like our generation,
mm,
they tend to take the easy way out, which is divorce, rather
I-
than work on their marriage and figure it
right.
out.
I think a majority of humans do that though, where they want to because
Yeah,
it's that line of the path of least resistance.
right.
Yeah, all of us can be
Because
affected by
they
that.
and I feel like it has to do with the way some of them were raised because
Mm, yeah,
the way like a lot of our generation has been raised is the parents have wanted to give them what they didn't have growing up. And
yeah,
it kind of spoiled them in a sense to where
yeah.
they get everything easily. So they're just like, well, everything in life should come to me easily. Nothing should ever have challenges. And I'm just going to take the easy way out. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's going to bite you in the ass really hard someday. But go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Uh, and so for the final thing, because I know you're going to be leaving soon. So
Right.
the last time when Divinity was here, I haven't usually did it before, but the last time Divinity was here, we kind of were at the end and we were talking about what's the thing we can take away from the conversation. And I can't remember what it was, so I apologize. It's on that stream if anyone goes and look up at it. But the question I want to ask you is, though our conversation was mostly about content creators, what would you take away if there was anything you saw that was valuable to you, or maybe you had talked about that you never got to before? What's something that you want to take away from and maybe either contemplate or use it elsewhere, wherever you go? Because it's just like one of those. It's like I'm not trying to be, but it's sort of like that. What is it? Jerry last thought he usually has at the end of his show,
Right.
or I can't remember the full name of the show. Jerry Springer, that's right. Jerry Springer. He had the last thought of the show, and it's sort of just like after the whole culmination. So I don't know if you saw anything. I don't know if there was anything that jumped out at you or whatever. But if there's been anything at all, what's something that you would want to take away from this, if anything?
I think what I would want to take away from this is, if I have the opportunity to do something like this again, I would totally take it because we've been having a good conversation, kind of getting to know each other, and sharing our thoughts and ideas.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I think that's one thing I would want to take away from it because to be honest, like I feel like I want to say the past like 8 months,
Mm,
I've been so like locked in to where I haven't thought about branching out with other people.
yeah.
I just stick to my regular
Mm,
folks.
yeah. It's
And
understandable.
it's cool. Like, you can have cool conversations like this and learn from each other.
Mm,
And I think if we as small creators, we reach out to each other, do stuff like this, it's really helpful in
mm,
supporting each other.
yeah.
So I think I would definitely do that. Also, like, like I mentioned earlier that I've met a lot of people where I'm like, I regret meeting
Yeah.
them at the end of it, or
Yeah.
at like end of the road because they got what they wanted, which
Mm,
is like, exposure and whatnot because they thought I could give them that and stuff. And they got to reach out and network with other people. But at the same time, I'm not mad at them for that. I
yeah.
don't care about that, any of that, because at the end of the day, that's not going to change me or who I am.
Mm,
If a smaller creator comes to me and asks my opinion on things or my advice on things, I'm still going to give it to them. I'm still going to be helpful.
right.
I'm not going to be an asshole because that's just not me.
Yeah. You're
So,
very, you're very lovely, and that's almost that's a very selfless giving. I would say it's servitude, but I don't want to go that far because it's not like slave servitude. Okay,
right,
it's more of like kindness with a side of helping others.
right.
So
And
if that
like
makes sense.
I mean I am an asshole to a certain degree
Yeah.
because I am sarcastic. I
Yeah.
do troll people back and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but at the same time, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And why not use that to my fucking benefit, right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm not going to let anyone bring me down. If anything, I'm going to take their bullshittery and I'm going to flourish from it.
There you go.
I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to let them change who I am. I'm not going to change who I am. And I know because there's so many assholes in the world that are just
Mhm.
like fucking dicks and they're just
Mhm.
out for themselves.
Right.
It comes off as strange to some people because they're like, you're sus. Why are you so nice? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm still me.
Mhm.
You can take it or leave it. And I think that's one thing you can benefit from too. Like, you're a nice person to be around. You've been a pleasure to speak to. Just keep doing you and being yourself. And, you will grow. You will,
Yeah.
even if it's not one of your main goals or whatever,
Mhm.
people will like you for who you are. And
Mhm.
that's what matters the most because there's a lot of larger channels out there and
Mhm.
they're not authentic.
Or they become unauthentic after a point.
Right. They become greedy
Right. The appearance of, yeah.
and
I
it's
can
not
understand that.
it's not attractive and that's how you lose all this hard work that you put into it. You start losing all of that,
That's
you
that's
know?
where that's where I think humility comes into it. Like
Mhm.
I'm always at the end of either a video or whatever, I'm saying I'm always appreciative whoever comes, if any at all.
Yeah.
And I'm always thankful because I never thought I never thought I could get to this point. I still don't think I can get any farther, but I want to try to push that because like you were saying, the conversation is great and you get to talk to people you never thought would talk before, and
Mhm.
that's awesome for me. I mean, I will be asking you back again, after the holidays because that's what the whole makeup is, and it gets everyone wants to spend time with family, so I understand that. So it won't happen, but
Absolutely. I'd be happy to come back
I
anytime.
yeah, I will be asking because you're not only you lovely, but
Thank you.
you seem very smart. So, but my takeaway for today, and I said this earlier, was the slow to anger and the quick to love sort of thing. I know that's sort of like a biblical thing, but it makes sense because we many times, doesn't matter where you are, whether content creation or social media, we jump the gun and you see it. I know you've probably seen it a ton of times. You
Mhm.
jump the gun, you think you know, and then come back later, may have been totally wrong. Sometimes you have a gut instinct that's a little different, but don't jump on it just yet. Some people are good at
Right.
it, some people aren't. My thing is that if there's anything to learn from it, from my end, slow to anger, quick to love, because
Mhm.
you you would be surprised of how quick you realize when you get hurt, like you have an accident, whatever, how much you realize how fragile this is. It is very fragile,
Right.
and so I try to be very appreciative. So, but yeah, I want to thank anyone who came, even if you're all just from Jessica. Thank you all. I don't have a set list either. I don't have a set date. I try to do three days a week, but it doesn't always work out that way. But I do want to thank you all. I want to thank Jessica because she didn't have to, but she did,
Thank
and
you.
she
Thank you for having
also.
me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for also testing the Rumble Studio with me, even though it still got bugs. It's been awesome. Um,
Yeah,
so
even though I
yes,
look like a potato, but that's fine.
hey, I tossed that rose that place. All right. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, Jessica may not promote herself because she's sort of cool and just calm or whatever. But I'm Daramouthe on Twitter. Twitter, I say Twitter X because X or Twitter is just dumb. It's Twitter X. It's like it's in that area where it doesn't know where it wants to be. Twitter X, YouTube, and Rumble. Username is the same, Daramouthe. And just follow me there. I do post the links in my Twitter X for, like Jessica reposted. I do post them for the links going out, so you can follow that. With the Rumble Studio, it has that thing where you can't see the YouTube side of it, but it is what it is. So thank you all for coming. Jessica has to go, and so will I. But we will be back again in the future because I like talking to Jessica. So, and I hope you guys like watching Jessica too, but not for those reasons. All right, come on, guys. All right, see ya everyone later. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And okay, now I gotta do that.